Welcome back, everybody. Canine Revolution Radio, episode 49. Today, going through some questions. First, we got a list of dog-related questions, dog training-related questions. Then we have some common questions that I get a lot that are not dog-related that I'm just going to go through, the most common ones that people randomly ask me all the time. I got the Bunny with me today. Bunny.
Yo.
What's up? Welcome.
What up, what up?
All right. I did put out a question for this podcast. I asked people on Instagram stories, I said, do you prefer a detailed answer or do you prefer a general overview answer? 67% of people said they like a detailed answer. 33% of people said they like a general overview answer. So I'll mix it up a little bit. I'll do some detailed answers. I'll do some general overview answers. Sound fair?
We'll see how that goes.
I'll do 67% detailed, 33% general overview. How about that?
All right, we'll break it down. We'll see the statistics at the end.
All right, let's start rocking and rolling here. What we got for the number one?
Number one, basic question. How do I train my dog?
Basic question, how do I train my dog? All right, I'm going to go through the progression real quick. Again, this depends on you and your dog, your goal with your dog. You know what I'm saying? So everyone has a different goal. However, most people do want a sense of obedience from their dog. When they ask their dog to do something, their dog's going to do it. There's people that want therapy work with their dog, maybe service dog work with their dog. So again, your goal is going to dictate where you go with your training throughout your dog's life. But we're going to go general overview on this one. So basically, you want to start out with some engagement. That's always a good rule of thumb, which is building up eye contact on you from your dog, building up focus on you from your dog, building up interest in you from your dog. The way you're going to do that is by rewarding eye contact from your dog with food rewards or with something your dog highly desires, but preferably a food reward. And then once you establish engagement, you're going to start loose leash walking, developing muscle memory for obedience, finalizing your obedience positions, implementing accountability, proceeding through socialization work, distraction work. So socialization is providing your dog with positive experiences in close proximity to new people, places, and things. Distraction work is making sure your dog understands that no matter where you go, if you ask them to do something, they should be doing that, and then proceeding from there. So that's kind of the general overview of how do I train my dog. Yeah, again, going to go back to your specific goal.
Pretty straightforward.
Good to go. What we got?
How do I train my dog not to bite? I'm assuming people.
Yeah, so probably like a puppy style biting. So I think we've answered this before, but again, how to train my dog not to bite. Basically, if your dog's trying to bite you or if your puppy's trying to bite you, ideally you want to redirect them off of that. So you could give them a toy, could take them to something else, but basically that dog has to understand no teeth on humans, but they can bite other things like bully sticks, toys, stuff like that. If it's a reoccurring thing, right, and they're not easily redirecting, you are going to apply some type of correction for that, preferably a leash correction. So you'll keep a leash on your dog. If they try to bite you, you'll say no, tug on release on the leash, and then go from there. So basically that's how you want to do it. Preferably if you're going with some corrections, which you'll probably have to do at some point in this progression for training your dog not to bite, you're going to need some type of correction collar. That could be a martingale collar, could be a fur saver training collar, could be a prong collar, just something that allows you to apply a little bit of pressure to the dog if they continue to trying to bite you. Okay, if they're not getting the picture to redirect from you. So, yeah, good to go.
All right, moving on. We're rapid firing these boys. How to train my dog to walk on a leash.
How to train my dog.
We got a great YouTube video on this, by the way.
Yeah, how to train your dog to walk on a leash. We'll go detailed on this one. So there's a progression you want to follow. Loose leash walking is critical with all of our dogs. So number one, if you have a dog that's pulling on a leash, it's going to create some kind of discomfort to you, the owner, the handler, usually messed up shoulders. I've had clients, friends of mine, that have to go to the chiropractor because their dog's pulling their spine out of alignment. It's a very strong dog. So with that being said, how are you going to train your dog to walk on a leash? Number one, You need to establish engagement like we already talked about. So basically you're going to have your dog on a leash, take them outside or to a different training area, and then wait for your dog to give you eye contact. If your dog gives you eye contact, you're going to say yes, back up, drop your hand with some food rewards in it. They can come up to your hand, get the food reward out of your hand, rinse and repeat that. You're going to do that repetitiously until you go outside. Your dog is locked onto you, doesn't want to do anything other than pay attention to you. Okay. That's a good start. And then there's several different ways you can start this. It depends on if you want a very strict heel position or if you just want a loose leash walk. So I'm just going to go with a loose leash walk because not everyone needs a strict heel position. So basically, once I have the engagement established, I'm going to practice walking in a generally straight line. And if my dog is maintaining a loose leash or paying attention to me, I'm going to say good and deliver them a food reward wherever they are, as long as that leash is loose. I prefer the dog to be on the left side, just more convenient. So I'll be holding the leash in my right hand. I'll be delivering food rewards out of my left hand to my left side if my dog's on my left side. Now, if the dog gets tight on the leash, pulls on the leash, I'm going to immediately turn to the right. And because the leash is in my right hand, the leash is going to somewhat wrap around the left side of my body. I'm just going to start walking in the opposite direction. Because of the engagement work that I've already done, usually the dog's going to start moving with me with the leash. And so once they're back on my left side, I'm going to say good, continue to reward them along my left side or in the vicinity of my left side. So the concept is I'm reinforcing my dog for maintaining a loose leash being on the left side. However, if my dog is departing from that and putting any tension on the leash, I'm immediately turning, walking the opposite direction, which is inducing negative reinforcement, meaning it's uncomfortable for the dog to have a tight leash on them. However, as soon as they move with me, the leash loosens, therefore reinforcing the loose leash. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I'm providing positive reinforcement through the food reward. Now, if I continue that progression, you're going to have to do this for many sessions. But if I continue that progression, then there's going to be a point where I'm going to start to apply a legit leash correction, quick pop and release on the leash for the dog getting close to putting tension on the leash. Okay, so you're going to eventually get to that point where you're going to start implementing accountability for putting tension on the leash, and that's basically it. You know what I'm saying? Rinse and repeat, go from there. Continue to be consistent, reinforce the good positions. At a certain point, you're also going to change your reinforcement to a random reward, meaning you're not always going to reward them for being in good position. You're just going to randomly reward them. Okay, so that's basically how you're going to do that.
And I'm sure some people who might want to do this, like the video that we have on our YouTube is with the Rottweiler, right?
Yeah.
So if you got those big, bulky dogs, you know, make sure you're able to turn the other direction if they lock up on you. You know, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, they'll pick up on it after a minute or two.
A lot of times a properly fitted prong collar will help provide some leverage to you, whether it be a big dog, a small dog, a strong dog, whatever. A properly fitted prong collar will provide you, the owner, the handler, some leverage in helping your dog to move your way, because it's gonna help that negative reinforcement piece. It's not gonna hurt your dog as long as you're using it properly. It won't cause any injury or anything like that, but it will help provide leverage. So I have in the past used the prong collar many times to help me teach that dog loose leash walking, and then as soon as that's accomplished, I go back to a martingale or a fur saver collar or a slip lead or whatever collar you prefer. But it can be useful for a portion of training, that's for sure.
And probably be careful with the flat collars. They might be able to slip out of them.
Yeah, they'll slip out of flat collars.
Yeah.
Don't recommend flat collars at all.
Yeah.
Just go with that.
All right, moving on. How do I train my dog to sit?
Okay, how do I train my dog to sit? Basically, I mean, you could do this a variety of ways. If your dog is offering you sits like some dogs do, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Some dogs are highly resistant to sitting, or they are not really in tune to muscle memory for sitting. So let's just say that I have a dog that's naturally inclined to sit down. I'll just make sure I'm implementing a sit before I do major things that dog wants. So I'm going to allow that dog to reinforce itself for sitting, like going out of a door. If I just stand there and don't move, what does the dog do as it's waiting to go out the door? Does it sit there staring at the door? Does it start pawing the door?
Yeah.
Does it pace back and forth, or does it sit down?
Start barking.
Yeah.
Making
Getting
noise.
Yeah. If I have a natural sitter, I'll do that to build the sit behavior, and then just start saying sit right before I do that, so the dog will be conditioned to the verbal command. If it's a dog that doesn't do that kind of stuff naturally, then basically I'm going to use a food reward. I'm going to lure that dog into a sit. So I'll just have some food in my hand, hold it to their nose, gently move my hand up. The dog's nose should follow. Their butt most likely will hit the ground. As soon as their butt hits the deck, I'll say yes, back up, reward, rinse and repeat that repetitiously. And then after a certain number of repetitions, I can't tell you, depends on your dog, but after a certain number of repetitions, your dog will start to sit as soon as you start saying the command. Okay? So that's basically how you're going to do it, right? Some dogs are going to need more luring. Some dogs will need less luring. But basically your dog wants something, and then you turn that sit into accessing what they want.
Yeah. Definitely going to take multiple sessions, most likely.
Depends on the dog.
Yeah. All right, moving on. How do I train my dog to protect me? This is a tricky one.
Tricky, common question. How to train my dog to protect me. So first of all, you got to have the right dog. It also depends on what you need your dog to protect you from. Not everyone should have a dog that protects them. It is a liability. If your dog bites your neighbor, they could sue you, something like that. So you need to be careful about what you actually want your dog to do. But then there's a lot of dogs that just aren't genetically built to do protection of you. They may want to protect themselves in certain situations, but they may not be genetically fit to protect you yourself. So how do I train my dog to protect me? First of all, we need to identify that we have the dog genetically capable of providing protection to you. So that's going to be a dog that has prey drive, a dog that has defense drive, okay, primarily. A dog that's environmentally sound, which means things don't really rattle them. So if you took a trash can with rocks in it, a metal trash can with rocks, and you started shaking it, is your dog going to run away from that? Is your dog going to stand its ground? You can build dogs up to certain environmental standards, but genetically what's there with the dog, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The dog that runs away from a loud noise or something like that, generally not going to be ideal genetically. Again, you can somewhat build them up. A dog that stands its ground in those types of situations or doesn't care, generally going to be preferred, at least from an environmental standpoint. So then, if you want your dog to protect you, you need to identify, when do I need my dog to protect me? You want to build scenarios around those certain contexts. You're also going to want to do some tug work with your dog so you can build a reward for different types of behavior. So when you're doing protecting me situations, your dog's going to be operating primarily in a prey drive situation, possibly a defense drive situation. So you're not going to be using a lot of food rewards for that. You're going to want some other type of reward that's going to be tug usually. So then you're going to develop your dog's prey drive by playing tug, getting your dog used to, releasing commands where they can go chase something and bite it in prey drive and then release it upon command. Then you're going to build scenarios of when your dog needs to protect you and build up their confidence level protecting you in those situations. So let's say you're a lady, you live at home by yourself, right? You have a dog. Don't know what kind of dog, you just have a dog. Genetically, it's sound for this type of stuff. So your context, your scenario primarily may be your house. You may want your dog to protect you in your house. So you're going to run some scenarios where a stranger or an intruder is coming into the house, and then you're building up your dog's understanding that this is a scenario where they can enter prey drive and go and chase things, bite them, that kind of stuff. You may build in some boundaries. So it's just going to depend again on your specific goal, but everyone does need to be very careful. A lot of people say, I want my dog to protect me. I want to do protection training. I want to do this and that. It's very complex. It's very complicated depending on how in depth you want to go. A lot of times people just want a dog to bark when there's a weird noise, and that can be easily taught, you know what I'm saying? But getting detailed into actual protection stuff, it gets very detail oriented. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into it. There's a lot of cost that goes into it, a lot of time. And if it comes down to a legit protection scenario where you need protection from something, someone could walk in, your dog could be biting them or barking at them. If they have a gun, they might just shoot your dog. So you also need to have contingency plans. You need to be prepared to protect yourself ideally getting some type of weapons training where you can use a pistol, you can use a shotgun, you know how to shoot it, you know how to aim it, load it, clean it, that kind of stuff to protect yourself as well. But a dog is a great deterrent depending on what we're talking about protection-wise.
Yeah. Super complex, especially doing the intruder drills.
Yeah.
That could lead to some not ideal situations if you don't do it the right way, the proper way. Mm-hmm. Moving on, how to train my dog to be a therapy dog.
Therapy dog. So there's we get this question a lot, actually. So there's a lot of organizations that specialize in therapy certifications. My recommendation is before you go to those organizations for certification, make sure your dog knows its obedience. Make sure it knows potty training. Make sure it knows socialization and distraction work. They're not going to certify your dog if your dog is jumping on people, barking at other dogs, lunging at other dogs, all these types of things. So you really need to make sure that you're going through the proper steps. You're setting yourself up for success. You know what I'm saying? That you're, doing this kind of work before you get into therapy dog work, right? And then once you achieve that level of training where you have the obedience, you have engagement, you have socialization, you have distraction work, your dog is well-mannered out and about in public, then you can go get your therapy dog certification. I personally recommend the Alliance of Therapy Dogs. They're a great organization. And the thing about therapy dog organizations is that they've already coordinated, they've already gotten permission to go do therapy work at different locations, hospitals, nursing homes, children's hospitals, wherever people want to go do therapy work, versus a single organization. Like, let's say you're trying to do it through your specific dog trainer like us. Yeah. We would have to coordinate with all these people, get permission, do this, do that. It gets just too complex to do that, from our standpoint. So that's why we refer you out to a legit therapy dog organization where they do the certification themselves. They already have the permissions to go to these places. It's just better for you and your dog. But I would first get your basics done, get your obedience, get your socialization, your distraction work. Once you have that covered, then go get your therapy dog certification, which at that point should be very simple, very easy. And then you're certified. Then you can just go do your therapy dog visits. But a therapy dog is not meant for you, the owner or the handler. The therapy dog is meant for other people. So a therapy dog team is Therapy dog team is an owner, handler, and a dog going somewhere like a hospital and then providing, the dog's therapeutic service by just letting people pet it, that kind of stuff at the hospital.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So. Kind of correlating with that question, next one, how do I train my dog to be a service dog?
So service dog is going to be for the handler. You know what I'm saying? So you need to, first of all, it's going to depend on what you need a service dog for. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you have I don't know, PTSD.
There's a bunch of different, there's a bunch of different things that people need service dogs for. So again, similar to the therapy dog, I recommend the basics first: obedience, socialization, distraction work. With a service dog and a therapy dog, but more important for a service dog, you need to make sure the genetics are at the point where the dog is capable of that, right? So if you have a dog that gets scared of a vacuum cleaner, probably not going to be right. Good. I mean, you could train that to a certain degree, but genetically, you want a sound dog who's not really insecure, not really nervous around a lot of stuff. That means it's going to be able to work well out and about different places, because a service dog is going with you different places.
Yeah.
It's going with you to the restaurant. It's going with you to school, going with you to the grocery store, whatever. Think about things that are in those environments.
People who want to pet your dog.
Even
though they're not supposed to.
Yeah. Creepy people that are walking up making things weird, loud noises,
loud buses, trash cans,
vacuums,
loud groups of people,
Exactly. So your dog's got to be able to cope with all these environmental factors. So if that's going to be a big problem with your dog, probably not a good idea for a service dog, you know what I'm saying? But a genetically sound dog is going to be way better for service dog work. And then, so you train the basics: obedience, socialization, and then distraction work. Then you specialize on your service work.
Yeah.
And you may mix that in there, like especially with puppies. You definitely want to start the service related work in the foundational pieces, especially if it's like some type of detection, or if it's something that the dog needs to pick up with its mouth, stuff like that. You want to build those foundations when the dog's younger, and then develop them even more as the dog continues to develop. So start with the basics and then specialize from there.
All right, moving on. How do I train my dog to be nice to other dogs or friendly with other dogs? The tricky. I mean, a lot of this comes down to, I feel like, genetics, personality, stuff that you really need to pay attention to. It's not something that you can flip a switch and say, I mean, you really have to put the time in, you know, like hardcore time. You know?
I mean, it comes down to, in all these questions, it comes down to repetition, consistency. When it comes down to being nice to other dogs, some dogs are dominant, some dogs are submissive. So there may be some limitations to a certain degree as to what your dog can do with other dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you have a dog that's been aggressive to other dogs for 9 years, for example, you can train that dog to tolerate other dogs, but it doesn't mean that dog's going to be able to just like play and loiter and hang out with just any dog. Your dog may be able to do that with some dogs, but not every single dog, just because of the number of years of experiences it has practicing being aggressive towards other dogs. You get what I'm saying? But you can train it to be tolerant of other dogs being around. You're going to have to manage the environment to a certain degree. But primarily, this comes down to like good socialization. So like if you have a puppy, critical, get good socialization in. First of all, give your puppy good experiences around other dogs. So go to like a dog park. Don't go in the dog park. Stay outside. Do engagement sessions around the dog park where your puppy can watch the other dogs but not learn to be obsessed with them, So their dog's just observing them in the area. And then once you do that, try to find some friends or some, family or somebody with good dogs, good neutral dogs where your dog can interact with and they won't be overbearing on each other. If one of your friends or family has a dominant dog that wants to dominate, pin down, all this kind of stuff, that's not a good dog for your dog to interact with, at least at first. So you want to try and find even keel dogs, neutral dogs that your dog can hang out with, spend some time with, learn how to, interact with, and then you can go from there, right? You can start to interact with some other dogs. Some might be more dominant. If your dog is dominant and this other dog's dominant, they may get into a fight because they're fighting for dominance. You know what I'm saying? If your dog's submissive and this other dog's dominant, your dog may just submit, then they might be good to go. If your dog's dominant, the other dog's submissive, that dog may submit to your dog, then they may be good to go. You know what I'm saying? So it's just going to depend on your specific dog, the other dogs. But as a rule of thumb, I'm not a big fan of like you're walking down the street, you got someone else walking down the street and you're just like, oh, let's just let our dogs meet. Like that's building bad habits, because now I'm teaching my dog an expectation. If you see another dog, you just get to go over there. You know what I'm saying? Which is a bad habit, a bad behavior to have. You get what I'm saying? So like, you develop this as time goes on. Let's say you have an older dog that you're trying to interact with other dogs. Again, you're going to follow the same process. It's just going to take more repetition. You're going to do socialization work around other dogs. You're not going to build an expectation that if your dog sees another dog, it doesn't just get to go over there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You as the owner, as the handler, have to make a decision. Is it okay for my dog to go over there and interact with that dog or not? You know what I'm saying? And then again, build interactions with your dog where it's getting good experiences. So proper introductions with other dogs is critical as well, to make sure that my dogs are meeting in a respectful manner with other dogs. And I'll go ahead and talk about, we'll kind of go detailed on this one. How do you do an introduction with another dog, especially one that you've never met before? First of all, it's not going to be just let them run up to each other and just bombard each other. Not a good idea. The energy can be way out of balance in that situation. If there's a dominant dog, they may just quickly try to dominate the other dog. Or if there's a dog that doesn't really like a bunch of energy and attention right up real fast, that dog might correct the other dog. So preferably introducing two dogs, You got a handler and a dog. They walk behind the other handler and the dog. And then the dog that's behind the other one, you slowly let them come up to where they can sniff the butt. If the dog in the front that's getting its butt sniffed starts whipping around and not liking that, that's a sign, hey, your dog's feeling disrespected. You need to just take a walk together at a distance so the dogs are used to each other being around, but not directly interacting. If the dog getting its butt sniffed is good to go, right, then you kind of separate again. You swap positions. So now the dog that was initially getting sniffed is now the one doing the sniffing. Same kind of thing. If the dog up front is, turning around, not liking it, build some separation, continue walking, let the dogs get used to being around each other. If they're good to go, then you can kind of come up next to each other, let them interact a little bit, and then go from there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's ideally preferred interaction style between two dogs.
Get your butt sniffs in.
Get your butt sniffs. Good to go.
Also, be able to read probably dog body language is going to help a lot in this sort of scenario.
Yeah, I mean, if you're letting your dog interact with other dogs and you start to pick up that your dog or the other dog is showing some bad or not preferred body language, then you're going to need to make a call. You're going to need to manage the situation, call your dog out of it. Number one, if you can't even call your dog to come to you and it's doing it no matter what, or you have ability to hold it accountable if it's not coming, I wouldn't even really do interactions that are, not close to you.
For sure.
What I'm saying?
All right, moving on. How do I train my dog to be more calm or be calm?
What do you think?
I mean, a lot of reps on this one. If you got a high energy dog, me, I got high energy pit bull.
Yeah.
Good thing for this is spot command. That's helpful. But I mean, actually teaching it, you got to have the engagement. The dog's got to be paying attention to you, like anywhere you go. It needs to be paying attention to you most of the time, I feel like. And then through that, you got to manage the energy levels, so you got to give the dog mental stimulation. You can do that by training drills or other sort of things, brain games, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you got to obviously get your physical stimulation in as well.
Yeah.
1 hour walking at least was what we say for most dogs. Some dogs, like if you got a Frenchie or something, maybe not an hour, maybe 20 minutes or something.
Good to go.
But for, pit bulls, Dobermans, mutts, stuff like that, hound dogs, they can go for an hour or more.
Yeah.
Depending on, most dogs can. So it's really up to you. But, what would you say?
You want to practice calmness is the main thing.
Yeah.
So whatever your dog is practicing from A1 day one, they're going to keep doing. So let's talk about a puppy. Got a puppy. If this puppy's jumping all over the place, running around like crazy and just crazy all the time, guess what that puppy's going to continue to be?
Yeah.
Crazy, hyperactive, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I have my puppy be calm, which means you have to implement structure, implement management, you know what I'm saying? Then my puppy will be more likely to be calm long term in those contexts. Now, everyone's going to get excited over certain things.
Yeah.
What's something that gets you excited?
Food. Coffee in the morning.
Coffee in the morning?
Yeah.
You got some coffee here. What are you drinking?
Drinking some Coastal coffee. Not One Nation, but when I'm at Chad's, I'm going straight for the bag.
When you're at my house, you just go ahead and brew the One Nation.
The One Nation's already brewing.
As soon as you get here. So everyone's going to get excited about something.
Yeah.
So your dog may get excited about a ball. So whatever it is that your dog gets excited about, don't do that in areas that you want your dog to be calm. So a good rule of thumb is like in the house, that's the calm zone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Outside, that can be the energetic, hyperactive zone. So you play ball outside with your dog, outside where your dog is allowed to be hyperactive. Right. You know what I'm saying? But inside, you do calm things. And for a puppy, that means you probably have to keep your puppy on a leash. Keep your puppy with you as you walk around the house. Don't let it jump on people. Don't let it, go crazy on different stuff. Give it something to chew on. Teach it to be calm.
Yeah.
Teach it a down position. That's a calming position. A submissive position. Teach it a spot command, which is basically going over to a dog bed or a pet cot, laying down, chilling out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the kennel, same thing.
Yeah.
Teach it to be calm in there. Outside, let it go crazy if you want it to be. But outside, you also sometimes practice your downstay. Sometimes you practice your spot command. You know what I'm saying? To build calmness into times where your dog is used to being all amped up, jacked up.
Yeah.
So you got to balance it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But how to train my dog to be calm comes down to, number one, you have to practice calmness, which means it has to be a part of your daily routine. And then you have to teach your dog like what it can be excited for, when it can be excited, and then when to be calm. So you're going to break up the different scenarios and contexts as far as when your dog's calm, when your dog's excited. Again, rule of thumb, in the house is calm zone.
Yeah.
Outside is hyper zone.
Yeah.
You know, but you're going to practice some calmness outside. Also in the car, calm zone. So downstate,
Oh, yeah.
chilling out in the car,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you do the hyper stuff outside, I mean, obviously, you know, do the throw your ball, play tug, you know, let your dog run around. But if you go to like a restaurant, that's outside technically, you know, because you're probably sitting on the patio outside at a restaurant. Yeah. You don't want your dog to be going ham.
Yeah.
You know, pulling you on the leash, you know, even in a downstate, getting up, trying to go to other tables or something
Well,
like
that brings
that.
up a good point. Going to a restaurant, your dog may be getting hyper because it's getting around other people.
Yep. A
You
lot
know
of
what I'm saying?
smells.
So you have to teach your dog around other people. You be calm.
Yeah.
You sit. You down.
Yeah.
You keep all four paws on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how do you teach these things? Number one, you reinforce what you want. So if your dog's doing what you want it to do, you say good. You provided a food reward. You know what I'm saying? In general, that's going to be how you teach it. And then at some point, you're going to go to a random reward schedule. And then if your dog's doing something that you don't want it to do, being hyperactive, something like that, then you're going to, you know, at some point apply a correction or accountability. At first, that's just going to be withholding a reward. But then at a certain point, it's going to turn to an actual leash correction or remote collar correction as time goes on, as your training progresses.
And speaking from experience with a high energy dog, and you're trying to teach them to be calm, you know, it's like a learning process for them. Have patience. You know, because if you got that high energy dog, they're going psycho mode, you know, trying to run around the house or whatever. It's kind of stressing you out. You're trying to teach them. They're not listening maybe all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Part of the training process, you got to have patience.
Yeah.
Don't get, you know, mad at your dog for, you know, not listening to you or exhibiting these behaviors, you know. Just be calm. Like we say, calm, confident, relaxed, you know.
Patience, repetition. If you're freaking out, if you're frustrated, if you're angry, your dog's going to be feeling those things and it's going to get more hyper.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to piss you off even more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to, it'll teach you a little bit.
All right, moving on. How do I teach my dog or train my dog to be off leash?
How to train my dog to be off leash. That's what everybody wants, that off leash freedom. Right? So first of all, whatever your dog is doing on a leash, your dog is going to do off the leash. Right? So if my dog's pulling on a leash to just go check all this different stuff out.
Yeah.
As soon as I take that leash off, the dog's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I might have an issue getting it back if I haven't trained it. You know what I'm saying? So before I even go off leash, I got to make sure my foundation is set. I've got the engagement. I've got obedience, right? If I say come on a leash, my dog's coming to me, right? I've got good socialization. I've got good distraction work. I've got remote collar conditioning. To me, that is a prerequisite to any off-leash work. My dog's got to have that remote collar conditioning, got to understand that is my invisible leash. That's my means of communication off-leash. And then before I go fully off-leash, I'll use a long leash, 30 feet, 60 feet, 15 feet, whatever, just to make sure that at further distances away from me, my dog will still perform the obedience when requested. You know what I'm saying? My dog will still do what I've asked it to do. It will still adhere to me. And if it doesn't, and I apply some type of accountability, preferably through a remote collar at that point, the dog responds appropriately and does what I've asked it to do. You know what I'm saying? Or what it knows it's supposed to be doing for that scenario. So with that being said, once I complete the foundational work, the engagement, the obedience, the socialization, the distraction work, the long line work, 15, 30, 60 feet, then I'll go 100% off leash and I'll just practice what I need my dog to do. So that means as my dog is off leash, roaming around, kind of hanging out, I'll randomly call my dog to me, and whenever it comes to me, I'll reinforce it.
Yeah.
Yes, reward. Yeah. Good, reward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Randomly. And then if I ask my dog to come, for example, and it's not coming because it's sniffing the flowers, no, correction. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? By being calm the entire time and then I'm just randomly throwing that into my daily routine with my dog, off leash, on leash, whatever, and I'll be practicing a lot of off leash work in my day in, day out life to maintain that level of obedience and behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, if I'm like on the beach, for example, my dog's roaming around, hanging out, and my dog makes the decision to come check in with me, I'm definitely rewarding that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anytime my dog's offering me eye contact, offering me a check-in, offering me attention off leash, I'm going to reward that very highly so that that behavior continues to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I'm going to do it. But again, remember, whatever your dog's doing on leash, it's going to do off leash. Don't just get your dog day one and think it's okay to take the leash off because dogs just are off leash and they come back to you. That's not what happens. You know, people lose dogs all the time because the dog is improperly trained, improperly managed, and then, you know, doesn't know what to do when it's off the leash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely a tricky scenario.
I know JoJo, she likes to go off and, you know,
She's a sniffer, and
sniff
her
the
nose will
bushes
lead her
and
into the
she'll
woods.
lead her off into things. But when you call her, she'll come back.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on her. She blends in with the environment too. Moving on here. All right, so how do I teach my dog to do some tricks?
So again, we're going to follow the basic fundamentals of training. Reward what you want your dog to do. Basically, when you're doing tricks, you're not going to be really doing any corrections unless you're getting to a very precise level of trick work, right? But this is kind of just like for fun. You're just hanging out with your dog, teaching it some fun stuff. So you're going to be just doing rewards. And like, let's say you want your dog to roll over, for example. Your dog's not going to roll over the first time you do it. So you're going to have to break up your end goal into little baby steps,
right?
And then reward those baby steps along the way. So if you want your dog to fully roll over, for example, maybe your dog lays on its side. You reward it for that. Good, reward. Maybe your dog lays on its back. Good, reward. You know, so then you're just going to keep rewarding that and trying to lure that rollover and reward your dog for putting forth good effort into what you want it to do. And then at some point that will go into fruition of a full behavior. And then you can proceed from there, go into a random reward schedule for that one, and then go to the next trick that you desire to do.
Yeah. I'm going to skip down a couple to kind of correlate these two. So how do I train my dog to give me a paw? You know, this is like a trick.
So that could be a trick. So, you know, in this one, probably what I would do at first is try to frustrate my dog, meaning I got some food that it really wants. And let's say it really wants the food. It's trying to figure out what to do. If it puts a paw up or puts a paw on me, I might say good, reward him for that. You know what I'm saying? But if my dog won't even do that, it's just sitting there staring at me, I might grab its paw just to try and show it that, hey, the paw in my hand equals the reward. Yeah. So you reward that, repetition, baby step it out to where you're, again, building frustration. Your dog's giving you the paw, trying to figure out what it needs to do for that reward. Yeah. And then once the dog is doing it on command, so you just basically start saying the command paw, and then you do the paw movement that you've been doing. At a certain point, the dog will be very fluid with it. Then you go to a random reward schedule where it's not always getting rewarded, just sometimes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what I'm thinking is if you teach your dog to give you a paw, at some point your dog could try to manipulate you. You know, if you're doing like normal training stuff, you know, normal day. Oh, yeah. And you're trying to hold structure and your dog doesn't want to do what they're doing, they start pawing you. Or maybe you're like cooking in the kitchen. They start pawing your leg. You know, something like that. So you have to be ready to deal with that side of it as well.
You got to be careful because like the paw thing, that is one of those things that they'll start stabbing you with their paw. Oh, yeah. And then you'll be annoyed because it's doing that. But you actually taught it to do that. Yeah. So just be careful what you're teaching your dog to do. Yeah. Like a lot of people teach their dogs to put their paws on your shoulders. A lot of people teach their dog to paw them. Like I'm not a fan of those things just because at some point that's going to translate into something I don't want. Pawing me, pawing the blinds, pawing the couch, pawing the door.
Strangers that come over.
Pawing strangers, jumping up on me, putting their paws on me, dominating me. So again, it all depends on you, your dog, what your actual goal is, you know?
Yeah. One last one to correlate with that. So how do I train my dog to speak, you know, to bark?
Yeah, basically. So basically same thing. You want to frustrate your dog into speaking. Now,
I did this with JoJo. It was like really weird because she's obsessed with food, right? So I would get like a treat out of a bag. Like she knows that the bag, it's got treats in it or whatever. And I'll just like, it was funny because
How'd you do it?
I didn't know the proper way to do it at first, because this is when I first got JoJo from you. And I was like, I would hold the treat at her, and like I would just see if she would say anything, because she's like a vocal pit bull, So she would just stand there and look at me. She's obviously excited, I'm just like looking at her. She won't do it, so I'm like, speak. Speak. I just keep saying it over while I'm holding the treat, and I'm looking like a dumbass. speak.
She's looking
and
at
she's
you.
just staring at me, and then she'll start getting vocal after a while, because she's getting frustrated. And then she would eventually, I might say, oh, give it to her, if we're even making
For
some
effort.
noise.
Good.
And then I would do another one, and then she would start barking, whenever I do it after a while. And this is like a 20-minute session, maybe a little bit too long, but then I would do it a couple days in a row, and then like she picked up on it pretty fast. But that's probably not the proper way to do it. I mean,
basically that's what you're going to do: frustrate your dog,
Yeah.
and then reward them for putting forth good effort, some kind of vocalization, and then develop that into what you actually want Speak to be, whether that be a full-on bark or something else. But again, word of caution: if you start teaching your dog something like this, they're going to start barking all the time, because you taught it to bark. So I did this with Bane, my first Doberman. I taught him to speak. He's barking all the time. Or was.
You heard him earlier
I
barking.
haven't done it for a while. And then my second Doberman, Georgia, I did not teach her to speak. She's very quiet. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like. So again, you learn that kind of stuff along the way. But just be warned. If you go down the path of speaking or pawing or anything like that, it's going to start happening,
So is that the process you would use?
Basically frustrate the dog.
So how
somehow frustrate the dog.
Somehow.
With tug, with a ball, with a piece
Withholding
of food.
it from them to where they're getting vocal, and then you reward.
Yeah, you show it to them, you taunt them with it,
Yeah.
and then they get frustrated, and then at some point, some type of little vocalization, like maybe a whine, maybe a something like that. You reward that, then it continues to develop into a full-on bark or whatever you want.
Okay. All right, moving on from the trick portion there. How do I teach my dog to stay?
So this is a very common question, very important behavior.
It's on our YouTube.
It's on YouTube, safety related. So you got three aspects of the stay. You got duration, you got distance, you got distraction. A prerequisite for the stay is that your dog knows some position. That could be stand, it could be spot, it could be down, it could be sit, right? Something like that. Preferably down. It's just a more comfortable position. It's just easier to hold for a long period of time. So at first I'll teach the dog to down, then I'll start duration work, which means I'm rewarding my dog at a certain interval of time. This is going to be dog dependent. Some dogs, they want to get up immediately. So you got to start rewarding them, every couple seconds to maintain that down position, right? Some dogs are more relaxed, more wanting to lay down. So you can space out your intervals of rewards, so you're not rewarding them that often, just every 15, 30 seconds. And then over time, you just increase your interval of time while you're doing duration work. You as the handler are not moving your position. You're maintaining your position in relation to the dog. So let's say your dog is downing right in front of you. Once you start rewarding them at that interval of time, you're not walking around or anything. You're just standing right there. Good reward, good reward, good reward. You know what I'm saying? If your dog gets up, no, down, they go back down. Good reward, good reward. You know what I'm saying? So you just do that. You slowly increase the interval of time between your rewards. And then once your dog gets to where they can hold it for, 60 seconds or whatever, then you can start your distance work. And distance is distance from dog to handler. So basically your dog can hold down for 60 seconds. You say good, you reward them. You take one step back, you say good, you step forward, you reward. One step back, good, step forward, reward, right? You repeat that. Then you're going to start increasing your distance, couple steps back, good, couple steps forward, reward, couple steps back, right? So you get what I'm saying? You're going to do that until you reach the extension of your leash before your leash gets tight. Most people have a 6-foot leash. That's what I recommend. So that'll be about a 6-foot distance. And then you're going to start your distraction phase, which is where you're walking around your dog. So you're going to back up to like 4 to 6 feet. Take one step to your right. Good. Step forward. Reward your dog. Back up again 4 to 6 feet. Take 2 steps to the right. Good. All right. And you're just going to work your way around your dog. Imagine your dog as the center of a bicycle wheel. And then you are on the rim of the bicycle wheel, and you're working your way around the bicycle wheel, walking up and down each spoke of that bicycle wheel. Good. Walk forward down the spoke, reward your dog, walk back up the spoke to the rim, then walk around the rim some more, right? If your dog gets up during this process, you simply say no, right? Just take them right back to where they were with a leash, put them back down in their original downstay position. Then you continue with the same protocol that you were doing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So you just are continuing to progress from there. Other things you're going to progress to, longer distances, so 15-foot, 30-foot, 60-foot leashes. You're also going to increase your level of distractions. So if you have friends with dogs, you can have them come around. Family members can come around. You can go to a local park. You can go to a local hardware store, restaurant, practice this drill at these different locations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the other thing is, if your dog's in a downstay, you're practicing this drill, and they make eye contact with you, you say good, you reward that eye contact. You know what I'm saying? So, and you're just going to develop it from there, right? At a certain point, once you can walk all the way around your dog, you've progressed your rewards from very often to random rewards. Then you're going to start to apply accountability. So if your dog gets up, you're going to say no and correct them, whether that be with the leash or remote collar, to improve upon the duration of that stay. And then at a certain point, you're going to have to practice this stay for what I call an extended period of time, which means you're going to have to hit that point in time where your dog gets bored, your dog wants to get up.
Yeah.
You correct your dog to communicate to them that, hey, I know you're bored, I know you want to get up, but you still have to stay there.
Yeah.
Some dogs, that's 10 minutes. Some dogs, that's 2 hours. It literally just depends on your dog. But you're going to have to get to the point where you dedicate sessions to that, where your dog's doing extended periods of time in a downstay, so they learn even if they're bored, they got to stay there.
Yep.
Even if something crazy is going on, they got to stay there. Then you just progress from there and increase the level of difficulty of the downstay with time and distractions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you also need to practice you being out of sight of your dog. So you need to put your dog somewhere in a downstay, and then you move somewhere where they can't see you, but you can continue to monitor them and hold them accountable if they decide to get up for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One way you can start to implement that is through the use of a safety back tie. So if you have like a puppy and you have like a table, you could wrap the leash or something around the table, right? Connect it to your dog's collar. That way, if your dog gets up, it's stuck in that location. It may lay back down itself, but your dog just can't walk off on you. You know what I'm saying? So a back tie is a safety feature that you can use at a certain point in your stay training, but you do want to get to the point with your stay training where you don't need a back tie, where you trust your dog to maintain a stay at long distances from you with different distractions going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is a true stay to me. If someone says, yeah, my dog can stay, and the dog can lay down for 5 seconds and get up, see, it stayed. I'm like, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
You know, let's put it down and keep it there for 5 hours.
Or they put their dog in the down, they're looking at him like, stay, stay.
Yeah. You say stay one time, you walk away,
Yeah.
your dog's got to stay right there. You know.
They're walking away 50 feet, stay.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. How do I teach my dog to drop it? Drop it being anything.
What do you think?
I mean, you got to have something that they would want, like a higher value that they would drop it. You know what I'm saying? Or, I mean, you could use your means of accountability. Depends how you want to shape it, you know, or teach it, you know.
Depends on what level of training your dog's at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Also depends, like, the scenario. I don't know, like what the object would be, scenario. I mean, you know.
Yeah. For a dog that likes to play fetch with a ball, I'll teach it with that. I'll have 2 balls.
Yeah.
Let the dog go get one, bring it back to me. Whenever it brings it back, I have the second ball. I'm kind of, you know, taunting them with it. Hey, I got this ball. They get excited, frustrated, so they let go of the first one. I say yes. I throw the second one. I just repeat that process. Once the dog's comfortable, they're coming back to me. They're just dropping it automatically. Then I'll start to say drop it or out right before they let go of it, so that way they learn a command.
Yeah.
Then I can translate that to other things. So if they pick up a sock in the house and I say drop it, they'll drop it because I've already practiced it. And if they didn't, I can give them a correction because I do know they understand the word drop it because I've already practiced it. But, if your dog is not into playing fetch, stuff like that, or you have a puppy that's just picking up a sock or something in the house.
Socks, sticks, anything
like if you grab that sock and you start pulling it out of your dog's mouth,
it's playtime.
You're playing tug.
Yeah.
You're reinforcing your dog picking it up, right?
Yeah.
So what you want is to have like some food rewards or some other toy, taunt your dog with it. Your dog lets go of the sock, and then it gets this other thing. You just repeat that, then you apply the command to the point where the dog understands the command. Then if it doesn't, drop it whenever you ask it to. It can be held accountable appropriately. That's the basics of how you're going to teach it.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Briefly talked about this with teaching your dog to walk on a loose leash, but I guess this is a stricter form of that. So how do I teach my dog or train my dog to heel?
Yeah.
Definitely more strict.
Yeah, stricter. So when you're teaching a heel versus a loose leash, you are going to follow some of the same protocols as the loose leash, but now you're going to specifically teach your dog how to maneuver to your heel position, which in general is going to be on your left side. So you're going to have to use a food lure to lure your dog to that position, right? Reward them for moving there, right? And then you're going to have to teach your dog how to maintain right on your left side, head and shoulder region, right by your left leg. You're going to have to teach your dog how to move left, how to move right with your body. You're going to do all this with food lures, So you're going to have a piece of food in your hand, show it to your dog's nose, lure your dog to your left side. You're going to start walking. You're going to turn to the right. Your dog is still following your hand. If your dog is putting forth effort, learning how to maneuver its body in relation to your body, you say yes, you reward it. You repetition that out. You turn left, you turn right, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. You stop, right? Your dog has to learn to stop when you stop. Maybe you have an automatic sit where if you're heeling and you stop, your dog's going to automatically sit. You know what I'm saying? So you're teaching all this through food lures to develop your dog's muscle memory. Once your dog gets super comfortable with that, you're not going to be luring anymore. You're just going to be randomly rewarding it as you turn. If it turns with you appropriately, good, reward. You know what I'm saying? Do that, progress it from there to where it becomes just a thing where you say heel. Now your dog's in good position, walking with you, turning when you turn, properly adjusting to your body. If it's out of position, you're going to say no, apply a correction for accountability, so on and so forth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you can already start doing this when you do engagement. Yeah. Once you start engagement, you can start free shaping.
Basically a lot of this stuff
boils down to starting with engagement.
You're going to start with engagement, but again, you're going to lay the foundation for what you want at the beginning whenever you're first working with your dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, moving on. How do I teach my dog to come to me?
How do I teach my dog to come?
Recall, come, whatever you want.
Yeah, basically, if you do engagement, this is really going to help. Your engagement's a foundation to the come command.
Yeah.
But basically you're just going to teach your dog that if it comes to you, you reward it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So ideally, you do this through engagement. That way your dog is learning, paying attention to you, moving in your direction, gets it rewards. And then you just put a command on top of that. So right before you know your dog's going to come to you, or right before you practice luring or whatever your dog to you, you say, dog, come.
Yeah.
Right? And then you just do the luring motion you've been doing to get that dog to come over to you. Rinse and repeat that until you say come randomly. Let's say your dog sniffing a bush, sniffing a leaf, sniffing flowers, sniffing whatever.
Yep.
You say come, your dog stops what it's doing, it turns, it starts moving in your direction. You say yes, it can come to you, get a reward. You know what I'm saying? But if your dog doesn't do that, you do want to progress to a point where you can apply correction for not coming. You know what I'm saying? So you're just going to, apply that over time, progress over time, but your engagement's really critical to that. And then at a certain point, you apply accountability. That way your dog's learning, hey, if I don't do it, I am going to get held accountable. So it's something that I do need to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to everyone listening, if you want to see actual visualize it, what we're talking about, we have videos for all of this on our YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to get the visual example of how it's going to look, ideally.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Last one, dog related. How do I train my dog not to bark?
So this is the opposite of the speak.
Yeah. So this is when you teach the speak and then they start barking at everything and you're I did this.
Yeah. So now you got to teach your dog some kind of command to not bark.
Yeah.
So you could say rest, right? And as soon as your dog, like let's say your dog's barking, and then you say rest. As soon as your dog stops barking, which you may have to be patient and wait for it.
Yeah.
As soon as your dog stops barking, then you're going to say good, reward them, or yes, reward them. You know what I'm saying? Use one of your verbal markers to mark that behavior, then reward. You're going to repetition that out. So you're going to set your dog up for scenarios where it wants to bark, and then you're going to give it this word and wait for your dog to be quiet. Now, some dogs won't be quiet, so you may need to apply a little bit of a leash tug, not a full correction, just kind of something to snap their brain out of it. Then as soon as they're out of it, then you reward them. And then as time goes on, that command, that word rest or quiet or whatever, becomes, hey, lock it up to the dog, and the dog can be quiet. You know, and if they're not, you can hold them accountable fully, fairly, because you've already done the legwork to teach it not to bark. You know what I'm saying? So you can teach your dog to speak on command and then to be quiet on command. That is something you can do. You know, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of practice, a lot of patience.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. All right.
So, yeah.
Good to go. So that's all the questions in relation to training your dog.
Dog training. How to train my dog. How to train your dog.
But apparently you got people asking you other questions.
Yeah, so, you ask me questions all the time.
Some kind of celebrity or something out here.
Negative.
All right, let's see. Common questions that Chad gets asked. All right, let's see. First one.
What we got?
What kind of app do you use for your diet?
What do you use for your diet?
You're on a diet?
What do you use for your diet?
I use the Carbon app.
That's a good app.
Recommended by you. Recommended to you by Mark. You know, had him on episode 47.
Mark McGirt, good dude. Good
Revolutionized the way you train. Good to go. A lot of information.
So I don't think you need to be on like a diet per se. Like I'm kind of like.
What's your routine for eating, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like along the lines of thinking of Lane Norton. He's like a nutritionist. He's got a great YouTube channel, a lot of information on it. He's got a podcast as well. But basically, you know, a lot of people are into paleo diet. A lot of people are into keto or whatever.
Intermittent fasting.
And like if that works for you, cool. But I think like whatever's sustainable for you that you can do long term is what you should be going towards. You know what I'm saying? And so like the good thing about the Carbon Diet Coach app is it allows you to like set a goal for yourself. So you could set a goal to gain weight.
Yeah.
Like gain muscle.
Yeah.
You could set a goal to maintain weight, like maintain your body weight. You could set a goal to lose weight, for example. You know what I'm saying? So you can set your goal in the app. Every week it'll ask you to check in. Basically, you're going to weigh yourself, measure your waist for your body fat estimation, you know, and then it'll adjust your macros. But you need to be honest. You're only going to cheat yourself. Like if your goal is to lose weight, you know, for example, and you click lose weight as the goal on the app, and then you're sneaking in cookies, but you're not
logging it,
and you're not tracking it, you're not logging it, you're not being real with yourself.
Yeah,
you know, so the app settings are going to be off. But anyone that's just getting into this kind of stuff where they're trying to reach a goal, first of all, I recommend if you do go with the app, I think it's $10 a month or something.
Yeah,
but if you do go with the app, set it to maintenance first. Start off at maintenance.
Right.
That way you and the app can figure out, what do I eat usually on a daily basis? What do I need to be eating? And the app's going to figure out what your maintenance is, and then that gives you more of a precise calculation if you're going to gain weight or lose weight. Go into different phases of that. You know what I'm saying? Based on what your goal is. But like for me personally right now, what I'm doing is I'm in a slight calorie deficit, trying to lose a little body fat for the summer.
Right. Summer's coming. Got to get the summer bod going on.
So what I'm doing, based on some of Lane Norton's information, is I'm doing like 2 weeks in a deficit. Then I go to 2 weeks at maintenance, 2 weeks in a deficit, 2 weeks at maintenance, just because in a deficit it sucks because you're low on energy. You know, you're not eating as much food as you want to eat, but you got your goal to lose some body fat. You know what I'm saying? So you go 2 weeks into a deficit, then you maintain that weight for a little bit. Then you go 2 weeks into a little bit more of a deficit, then you maintain that weight. And so I think he calls it fat loss sprints or something like that, where you're kind of sprinting in a deficit and then you go to maintenance for a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. And then once I hit my goal for weight loss, fat loss, I'm going to go into a gain phase again, go into some power strength building stuff. So that's what I'm looking at. But there's a bunch of different apps out there, and that's what I'm going with. And I've been using it for a while, and I like it. I know Mark's using it too, and he's shredded. He's jacked.
Oh yeah.
So
he's built.
I like to do things with people that I think number one, what they're doing demonstrates that they know what they're talking about, or that they can practice what they preach. So like for a dog trainer, for example, if there's a dog trainer with a sloppy dog, I may or may not go with that person, because I'm like, well, they're not really doing what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with like a personal trainer or someone that's a nutritionist or a dietitian. Like are they practicing what they preach? Are they telling me to do one thing and they're doing something else? Like, as my nutritionist or my personal trainer, are they overweight, obese in a bad way?
Yeah.
Probably not a good person to be using. But both Lane Norton's like a powerlifting champion. I don't know all his stuff. He's also been in bodybuilding shows.
Right.
Mark, he's been powerlifting, CrossFit, bodybuilding competitions.
Bodybuilding shows.
And you just look at the dude, you're like, this dude, he's practicing what he's preaching. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I go with things that, I'm talking to people, getting some expert advice, and they're showing with their results.
Right.
They're practicing what they're preaching. I'm like, Roger that. Good to go. I'll try that out for a little bit.
Lead by example, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But be flexible, So if like you're trying something and it doesn't work for you, just because I'm doing it or Mark's doing it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So you got to find what's sustainable for you that you can do long term. The cool thing about Carbon Diet Coach, for example, it tells you how many proteins, fats, and carbs you should be eating every day. You can have a couple cookies, fit it into the macros. Overall, it's not going to, impact you that much.
Sounds like a personal experience.
Yeah. I have some cookies here and there, boys. Good to know. Some ice cream. I'll build it into the macros. Good to go.
Very interesting. All right, moving on. What is your daily routine? Buckle up, people.
What's yours?
Mine is not complex.
All right, give it to me. I want to know your routine. I don't even know your routine.
Hey, so just for people listening, like Chad is hardcore.
Let's just be real. Sometimes in
3
the mornings
a.m.
when I'm texting you or I'm asking you, I'm wondering if you're still in bed.
Chad always thinks I'm sleeping. Now, to give myself a little credit here, I can give you my old routine.
I don't want the old routine.
Just to show you what it used to be. The reason Chad thinks,
I want the current routine.
The reason that Chad thinks I sleep all the time is because I used to sleep until like 12.
Holy shit.
Till like noon, you know. But it was, college, all that stuff. So
well, what's your routine?
My routine now is, I'm waking up around, honestly, like 7:15.
Really?
Yeah, 7:15-ish on working days. You know what I mean?
So when you wake up, are you in bed surfing the interwebs? Or you getting up and going?
Now, when I wake up, first of all, I love sleeping. Well,
sleeping is good.
When I'm sleeping, I don't want to wake up. I sleep like a rock. Multiple alarms to wake me up. I'm trying to get away from that. I got an app that makes you do like math problems to turn the alarm off, but even that sometimes, doesn't work.
You'll just let the alarm go off.
No, I'll do that math and then I'll fall back asleep. You know what I'm saying? I'm in like a sleep state. So I'm up and moving, around 7:30 probably. I'm just, and I gotta normally roll out around 8:15 is my normal time to head out for work, stuff like that. It's cutting it close, but I don't have a long morning routine. Basically wake up, take my dogs out to go potty, come back, feed them, make me a cup of coffee, make some quick breakfast, and then gather my stuff and then roll out. Yeah, I'm eating. You
hitting the macros these days or what?
Yeah. Might have been slacking a little on the carbon.
You always tell me that every week. I ask you.
Some weeks it's like on, some weeks it's off. It's it's a balance for sure.
Yeah.
But I have issues eating a lot of food, and I'm also sometimes I forget to eat snacks and stuff.
Why do you have issues eating food? Just because you're busy?
Well, just the way I'm always thinking about other stuff, doing stuff, so stuff like that.
You got to make food a priority. depending on what your goal is.
It is helpful if you do like like pre-make your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally for dinner I have it pre-made. Like I have rice or beef or like chicken already made, or like a special meal like pasta or something already made. I got it all set up. So
DoorDash.
like dinner's covered. No, I don't. I mean I do DoorDash, but it's so expensive that it's literally like if you could do a DoorDash order, let's say for me and my girlfriend, it's like normally like $50.
Dang.
So it's like might as well go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean it's nice, but like we don't do it as much as we used to, especially.
Well, at your new house, you got lots of options right there.
Lots
you got ye old fashioned.
Lots of
You got ye old fashioned right there.
Yeah. So I'm rolling out about 8:15. I mean, if this is like a normal work day, I'm coming over to the Revolution.
Yeah.
Rolling in
hot,
rolling in,
right on time,
on time every time, 9 o'clock sharp. Need to sharpen it up a little bit. Get Chad likes the 15-minute rule. But I'm like the one person that Chad can't break to do that. But I used to roll in at like 9:15, and then Chad had a couple conversations with me. Time management, has been a thing. So I'm doing like dog update videos. Depends on the day. I might roll in here. We might do a podcast episode. We might do some sort of video that we're planning like long term, like a special video, like maybe a 4th of July video, stuff like that, or like a music video. Yeah, those are full day stuff. And then normally I'm like back at my house, depending, like normally around like 12:30 or 1, do some more editing or like structuring, if it's a Monday, structuring what I need to do for the rest of the week, making sure I got all my stuff covered for that, planning out what needs to, be uploaded or handled by X, Y, and Z, days.
Yeah.
And then normally around like 5, I'm like, winding down for work mode, depending on the day. Just kind of, normally I go and walk my dogs, actually. Try and normally do it like during the daylight, obviously.
We got plenty of daylight.
Because I can't walk in my neighborhood. My neighborhood's like really small.
Yeah.
And so I have to like drive to a trail.
Just do laps.
Yeah.
Laps.
It's super boring.
Yeah.
I like to look at stuff while I'm walking.
Yeah.
And also on those trails that I go to, good distraction work, other dogs, other people.
Sawmill.
So like helps.
Yeah.
Sawmill every day. You'll catch me there. Sawmill every day.
That's a good one.
Because when I come back from my walks, normally maybe I'll go like 4:30, maybe we'll go at 5, 5:30 or 6, I'm rolling back.
Yeah.
And I like to have my dogs like tired because I'll just put them in their kennel, give them dinner. I start making my dinner. Got a cat in my house.
I thought you were going to say that Joe slugs up to the red chair.
Oh, she wants to, normally she'll like pace around because she knows it's dinner time.
Dinner.
All she's thinking about is dinner time. That's all she thinks about. She'll come and like she'll sit in front of you and just stare at you, and I'm like, what do you want, and then I won't say anything to her. She'll like go to her kennel. Yeah. She'll just like walk in there.
She's volunteering.
And I know, she knows.
Yeah.
And so lock them up, and then got a cat. I'll let the cat out, get some separation time away from the dogs. Get his time
let the cat out in the yard?
Oh, no. Had that happen one time. That was a situation. And then I'm normally like, hanging out doing, random stuff, watching shows or whatever. I'm like,
chilling.
I like to game, so I'll do that. But then
that's your chill time.
That's my chill time.
Yeah.
And then normally going to bed around like 11. That's super.
You got
late.
a lot of chill time.
Got a lot of chill time. Basically from like, honestly, it's like 7 to 11.
Dang,
because like
I
take a shower, all that stuff. Or if I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, chit-chatting, watching a show, sometimes it might be 8 or something.
Sometimes she wants some alone time.
Oh, she does. She loves her alone time.
Yeah.
So, good, healthy separation like that.
Healthy separation.
Yeah.
Good to go.
I mean, on my off days, though, it's just kind of at a whim.
Yeah.
I don't really plan stuff unless I have like appointments or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I still keep the morning routine. Normally, on my off days, I'm up by like 8. I mean, yeah. Chad's eyes are like widening right now. I'm more simplistic in my routine than Chad, but let's hear your routine.
Hey, the thing is, whatever works for you. People
Yeah.
think that I want everyone to be on my routine. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
It's got to be whatever works for you.
But my routine is also like evolving. It's always evolving.
I mean, it always evolves.
Like I'm always
Everyone's
adding
routine
stuff
evolves.
you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my routine, I get up at 3:30 a.m. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
it is crazy.
Straight up, it's crazy. When I was in the Navy, my last deployment, I got up at 4:30 a.m. to work out with a couple of my buddies before we started our, day on deployment. And during that deployment, I was telling myself, I'm never, ever waking up at 4:30 ever again because I hate it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then whenever I got back from that deployment, I was waking up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym before work. This is when I was still in the Navy. And at that point, I was like, I'm never, ever waking up at 5 a.m. ever again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then I got out of the Navy, going to dog training. At that point, I was waking up at like 6 a.m. Good to go, hitting letting the dogs out, hitting the gym, whatever. But then started having, children. And so your time becomes less available because now you got to have to care for other human beings.
I've heard.
You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that's how it goes.
Plus the business was getting kind of crazy.
Yep.
So I adjusted my morning routine. Now all my adjustments have led me to my current routine, which is I wake up at 3:30. I let my 3 dogs out. The first thing I do, my alarm goes off 3:30. I immediately get up. I get out of bed. My phone is like 10 feet away from my bed with the alarm on it. The reason why I have to do that is because if I can reach it,
yeah,
and I'm still in bed,
my problem.
I'll pass back out. So I learned.
Yeah,
I've developed that when my alarm goes off, I have to immediately get up and stand up, and I'm pissed. I'm not happy. I'll just be straight up.
Yeah.
So I go over, turn off my alarm. I go into the bathroom, take care of business, splash some water in my face, start brushing my teeth. The first thing I like to do is brush my teeth because I hate
I'm the same way. Yep, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth.
Yeah, I hate a nasty mouth. So I'll literally be brushing my teeth for like 5 minutes with my little electric toothbrush, doing my thing. Then I get dressed. I already have my clothes in the bathroom. I put them in there the night before because my wife's still sleeping. So that's kind of where I have my light. And then I'll let my 3 dogs out. Take them out to go to the bathroom, bring them back inside, and then I'm pretty much going to the kitchen. I prepare myself a pre-workout shake because I'm about to go to the gym. So I put 1 apple in there. I put some mixed.
The whole thing?
No, I cut the core out.
Okay. But we used to do it.
I used to do the core. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to just eat the whole thing, but I put an apple in there. I put some mixed berries in there, like strawberries, blueberries, tart red cherries, that type of stuff, raspberries.
Yeah.
And then I'll put some Jocko milk. That's my protein right in the morning. Jocko. I put 2 scoops of milk in there. Good to go. Strawberry Slayer. Then I get my Jocko greens.
More Jocko.
Put a scoop in there. Good to go. And then I put a scoop of collagen in there from Granite Supplements. And then I put a scoop of pre-workout in there from Transparent Labs. Clean pre-workout.
Pre-workout, huh?
Really
so you're not drinking a coffee.
Not drinking coffee. I've tried to work out with just coffee. It just doesn't hit my
You're
stomach
not enough
right.
pump, or you got to go to the bathroom right
It
when
just
you get to
messes
the
up my
gym. The coffee in the morning, the first cup. Everyone knows how it goes. Time to hit the bathroom.
So then I'm drinking this drink on the way to the gym. It takes me like 25 minutes to get there. So this is kind of like my think about the day thing. I'm blasting some rock music or whatever I'm listening to. Yeah. Sometimes it's just quiet because I'm just I'm pissed.
You're pissed. You're awake.
So I get to the gym. I walk in, get on the treadmill. I walk backwards for 10 minutes to get my knees warmed up.
What?
Build some knees. Good for your knees. Walking backwards.
Right.
So I walk backwards for 10. At first, everyone stared at me weird. Now everyone knows.
They just know that you're the weirdo.
They just know that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, they know you're the weirdo. Yeah.
So I walk backwards 10 minutes, then I go to the bathroom because everything's digesting, everything's getting moving.
Right.
Then I go get my workout in. I'm leaving the gym around 6:15 at the latest, coming back to the house.
I'm not up yet.
You're not up yet. I've already worked out, ate food. Now I'm wide awake. I'm amped. I'm freaking.
Oh, you want to know how I know is because the team team group chat starts popping off 6:30 a.m. with Chad, Chris, and Kevin.
Not Kevin.
Kevin. Chad and Chris, and then Kevin shows up eventually. He starts sending his messages. But yeah.
So I'm amped. I get to the house. I got to wake up the kids. That's the agreement. I take care of the kids in the morning while the wife gets to sleep in. So I'm taking care of the kids, getting them breakfast. I'm eating breakfast. I'm eating my beef with some honey,
right,
with some sweet potatoes or fruit or something,
right.
It's always beef.
Hell of a breakfast.
Sometimes I'll throw some eggs on there. And
now we're talking.
Feed the kids. The kids like eggs too.
Yeah.
And
are those eggs from your chickens?
eggs are from the chickens. They're Bertha,
So they're fresh.
Bertha, Betty, Trigger, Sandy, Showgirl eggs.
Yep.
Boys.
All right.
And they're fresh, free-range eggs right off the property.
Yep.
And so anyway, get the kids fed, brush their teeth, and then basically I'll feed the dogs, and then I'll get ready for the day. Got to take a shower, get on my work clothes, take my dogs out to train them, and then start the work day. And then the day goes, and then the evening.
Yeah.
Let's see. We put the girls to bed around 7 p.m. And then me and my wife, we get about an hour of chill time. Then I'm hitting the bed.
Yeah.
So I'm hitting the bed around 8:45, 9 p.m. Take the dogs out again, obviously. Do an evening training session. And, So
watching any shows in that 1 hour of chill
yeah,
time?
that's
What are we
usually
normally
do.
doing?
We'll watch a show. We'll watch one show.
What are you watching right now?
Some Netflix show about this chick that's like a spam artist or something. I don't know.
So it's a Lauren type of show.
Yeah. We usually rotate. I'll pick a show,
Okay.
and then she'll pick a show. We just finished Vikings. That was really good. Valhalla.
Yeah.
Really good.
Still need to watch that.
Yeah, so that's kind of the routine.
All right, well, we'll keep the conversation moving here. How do you work out?
How do you work out?
I mean, mine's just try and keep it to an hour at the most. I used to work out for more than that.
Yeah.
You know, I had like a powerlifting coach and all that, and I was like really hardcore, you know, at the gym. Everyone's heard the stories, you know.
Yeah.
But after, you know, going in there for an hour, or like an hour 30 or more, you know, like now I'm at the point I get kind of bored, or like I just have other stuff to do, or like I just, you know, I'm like at the hour mark, I'm like, dude, I'm getting a good pump, I'm feeling good, but I'm also kind of getting bored, you know. So try and keep it at an hour minimum, and I just cycle, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or
3 days a week right now.
3 days, yeah. Trying to get it up to 4. So maybe I'll do a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or something might happen where I can't go one day.
Yeah.
And I'll just squeeze it in somewhere else. So,
and I mean, what I've learned over time is listen to your body. So if I there are days where I wake up and my body's just tanked, it's destroyed, it's tired, it needs more rest. I'll just rest some more. You know what I'm saying? Even on those days, I'll get up 5 a.m. at the latest. You know.
Yeah.
But for me, working out, that's changed over time. I used to be big into getting big, getting juicy, be as big as possible,
pumped.
Right. So now I'm kind of like more into getting, you know, leaned out, you know, getting athletic, getting flexible. So that's what my current workout is. I do 5 days a week currently.
Yeah.
I do 2 total body workouts 2 days a week.
So you're hitting all muscles.
All muscle groups.
Yeah,
all
muscle
major
groups.
muscle groups.
Yeah.
Chest, shoulders.
How long
back.
is that workout?
I cut it off at 6 a.m.
So about an hour, maybe a little bit more. Maybe an hour 15. Yeah. Okay.
I do 2 days of total body work. I do 1 day of conditioning work, which is basically like getting the heart rate up, getting the heart rate going.
Yeah.
1 day of strict flexibility work with some core work. And then the 5th day is, it's like a specialized lifting. So I'm focusing on my shoulder area right now. So that's kind of the 5 days a week.
Yeah, cool.
So every 4 weeks, I kind of take a break from that for right now. And I do like a week of swimming. So then I'll just swim for a week. Maybe I'll lift once that week and then swim. So I'll kind of do that for now. I'm doing this until like May, end of May, beginning of June. Then once I hit that time period, I'm going to shift to I'm going to do like a week of swimming, and then I'm going to go into somewhat of a powerlifting type thing where I'm focusing on, you know, like 1, maybe 2 big lifts to build up strength in a certain thing, like bench press or deadlift. I definitely want to develop my deadlift some more. And then outside of that, I'm going to just do some very light accessory work or specialized work, and then continue to develop my conditioning. You know what I'm saying? So that's my workout. So once a week, the trainers do a trainer workout, or basically we'll do, overall development. So we'll start with a 1 mile trail run, not fast, just a conditioning speed. Then we'll usually do about 15, 30 minutes of pull-ups. We'll do a certain amount of pull-ups every minute for 15 or 30 minutes, just developing our pull-ups together. Then we'll do 5 or 10 sprints. Sometimes we do backward sprints. Sometimes we do regular sprints. And then we'll do usually 1 or 2 miles of zerker carry, where we're just carrying things in our arms for 1 to 2 miles as we walk. So good to go. It's a good workout.
All right. Well, you already touched on the next topic here a little bit when you were talking about your routine. What kind of supplements are you using on a day-to-day basis, or what kind do you recommend?
Yeah, I used to be heavily into supplements, use a bunch of different kinds of supplements, right. But I'm trying to eat more real food versus use supplements. But for me, getting up first thing in the morning as early as I do, eating a big meal is just hard, or eating a meal is hard because I'd have to get up earlier so I can still meet my timeline.
Yep.
So I'm using supplements in the morning, using the Jocko Milk to get in primarily protein. 2 scoops gives me about 40 grams of protein. I like milk just because it's like overall natural, and I don't like artificial sweeteners. And milk is sweetened with monk fruit, so good and natural. Then I got the greens to help me get in some micronutrients. Then the collagen to help me get some collagen, and the pre-workout. And that's basically all the supplements I use. I like pre-workout just because in the morning I'm tired, I'm pissed, so I need something to I want something to kind of jumpstart my system.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But that's basically it. So the rest is just beef, sweet potatoes,
actual
rice,
food,
honey, fruit. That's basically what I eat.
All right, transitioning here, different topic. So here's the question. We're talking about starting a business, managing your business, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what comes first? Starting the business or picking the name first before you start the business?
I mean, they both go hand in hand.
What was your process? How about that? How do you start a business? How do you pick your name?
I mean, the business name is going to depend on your business.
Obviously.
You know, you don't want to pick a name that's going to compete with other people. You also want to pick a name that kind of speaks to your mission, to your goals. You know what I'm saying? So for Canine Revolution, we're dog training, right? Wanted something that was kind of like amped you up, got you going. Also, revolution is like a strong word, a powerful word. It means to change, to make change. So I'm like, I want to make change in the dog training world. So Canine Revolution dog training, powerful, bold, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But some people may want to obviously not as intense of a name.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think of some of the names or you were brainstorming. I heard a couple.
Singer Dog Training Academy, lame, you know, stuff
Singer
like that.
Dog Training Academy. That would have been a good one.
We came up with. But anyway, so I mean, there's a lot of people out there starting different businesses. Pick out a name that speaks to you, your mission. You know what I'm saying? And then
mission statement, obviously. I've heard that one, I think, from Business 101.
Yeah, I mean, if you make a business,
gotta pick your business.
If you make a mission statement, it might help you pick out a business name
and how to structure your business
Your business from there. You know? But when you start a business, kind of what I was coached is that you need a BAIL team, BAIL. B stands for banker, so you need someone that you can hold bank accounts with, that kind of stuff. A stands for accountant, so that'd be like a CPA. Definitely need a good CPA if you're in the Somerville, Charleston area. I highly recommend Scott Swamp Fox CPA, good to go guy. Then you need an I insurance, so insurance agent. I definitely recommend my friend Sarah over at Blue, right? So insurance agent, you need liability insurance, workers' compensation insurance, that kind of stuff. So you need that insurance agent that's going to help you get those things going. Also someone to advise you on different things as you work through insurance. Then L stands for lawyer. Now some businesses need a lawyer all the time. Some businesses just need a lawyer to help get the business, the LLC started, for example.
Yeah.
You can start it yourself. You can go onto the state website, get it started, IRS website, get your EIN. But you can have a lawyer set up all that for you and then review like your contracts and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically the big people that you want to communicate with at first. BAIL team, banker, accountant, insurance, lawyer. So if you're starting a business, that's a good place to start. Start talking to these people. They're going to steer you in the right direction for stuff that you need to accomplish when you're starting a business, running a business. Then one thing I learned the hard way at first is I'm trying to do a lot of work that some of these people should be doing versus just paying them for their service to do that work like accounting.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess that up. So, I do recommend having your accountant just kind of keep track of your books from the get-go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially if you're not good with math.
Yeah, like me.
All right. How did you grow your team? How do you continue to grow your team?
That's just going to depend on the business. You got to make sure you're making good decisions because once you start growing your team, now you got to make sure that you can pay them what you said you're going to pay them.
I hope so.
and a lot of times as a business owner, you may not be getting paid yourself because you got to make sure that you're paying your employees. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that you're making that payroll, making sure you're paying your taxes. So if someone's not getting paid, it's you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So before you grow a team too quickly, you got to make sure you're ready to handle that type of responsibility. But as you grow your team, one thing that I was kind of coached about is pick a position that is going to help you the most, in your day-to-day routine. So like for me, when I was first growing the team, I was like, man, I could really use someone that does administrative work. But then I could also use someone that helps me caretake for the dogs. So I went down the path of, hey, I need help taking care of dogs first. And then later on, I added the admin piece,
Yeah.
But if you have a different type of business, you may need that admin first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was just talking to someone the other day. They have a business where, they just have clients that they're working with, but they're hands-on with their clients, you know what I'm saying? So it'd be really useful to have someone on the back end handling emails coming in, handling text messages. So that would be more of an administrative function.
Yeah.
So that person, me and them talked about, I was like, hey, probably admin's the first thing you would start with to expand.
Yeah.
And then you can start expanding the amount of people that are actually going hands-on with the clients, for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So growing your team is just going to depend on your business and what's going to help alleviate the most workload for you to where you can still do your specialty and manage the business. But this next person is going to help alleviate some time for you and responsibility, you know. But you still got to train them, so that's going to take time. You still got to follow up with them. They may need continual development. They may need accountability. You know what I'm saying? So you got to continue to develop them, hold them accountable. If you need to, teach them, hey, let's make this change, that change. So it's not like you hire them or you add them to your team and then you're done with that. That's not true. You still got to oversee it. You're still responsible. You know what I'm saying?
So as you grow your team, you're going to have, like you were just saying, manage your employees. So how do you manage your employees on a day-to-day basis or, on a routinely basis after you do that first intro, get them trained up?
Yeah, I mean,
depends on the position.
Depends on the position. Try to have a good training structure in place to where your employees, you can develop them to what you want them to be. So like for me, I really don't want to really provide that much day in, day out direction. I want people to be able to operate on their own. They know their responsibilities. They know how to accomplish them. I may give them a special tasker or something, but they can go out, make good decisions, make good judgment calls, do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? As long as they're meeting their job requirements, they're good to go. But if they're not, now I have to step in, say something, make a decision, something like that. So overall, I like for the employees, I call them team members. I like for the team members to manage themselves, you know what I'm saying? Or to manage each other versus me have to step in and handle every little thing.
Micromanaging.
Yeah, because then that's just taking too much out of me.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not really letting that person develop themselves, you know what I'm saying? Now, if someone can't manage themselves, can't make good decisions, from my perspective, I'm going to try and develop that team member into, what the team needs them to be, what the expectation is. And then if they can't handle that after extensive coaching and development, then it may be time for that person to no longer be a member of the team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's just a decision that has to be made later,
And going off that topic, we had a really good sit down with Todd Smith, a couple, probably 6 months or more back, early on. He's somewhere in the 20s podcast episode. He starts talking about this. He goes really hard into detail about employees, how to
small business leadership.
How to make them want to work hard. How to deal with unpleasant employees or people who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you know, stuff like that. So you can go listen to that.
Yeah.
Really big on small business development for sure.
He's
that whole episode, a lot of good insight.
Good information.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. He runs multiple businesses, you know, so.
But all right, that's all the topics we got today, all the questions.
Good to go.
Good to go. Hopefully we explain some things for some people.
Mm-hmm. Hey, listener, we appreciate you guys. Hit up Amazon for some Canine Revolution apparel to support the podcast, right? So we got some T-shirts on there.
Some comfy tees.
We got
cozy.
We got some new designs coming out soon, so just stay tuned. We have a Good to Go shirt on there.
Yeah.
So if you like Good to Go, if you are good to go, get one of those shirts.
Yeah.
All right. But until next time, out.